Hey again, everyone. It's Tyler Cavalli and Jacob Roth along with you here on KRVN, sizzling across Nebraska, the Red Meat Road Trip, as we are moving our way to eastern Nebraska. We're just north of beautiful David City as we're at Buresh Meats, learning here about one of our meat lockers. It's been a while since we've kind of really highlighted a meat locker here on the Red Meat Road Trip, and this is out of town, as really a good chunk of them have been across Nebraska. But this, as they say, quality meat market, the market is definitely one thing that is highlighted, as we'll learn here.
No, it's definitely you're looking at the outside of it, and I'm excited to kind of learn more as we get ready to go in. But people walking in with shopping carts,
Yeah.
and who knows what it's going to kind of look like here as we are just to the north of David City by a couple miles. But really excited to learn more about the Buresh Meats here in David City.
Yeah, it's a big facility here. Again, just as we've mentioned before, outside of town, north side of David City. Before we go in, though, let's thank our great sponsors. The Nebraska Beef Council is putting on the Nebraska Beef Passport Program. The Dawson County Cattlemen, the Nebraska Cattlemen, Cross Diamond Cattle, and Cross Diamond Meats in Bertrand. So let's go inside and learn more with Scott Buresh of Buresh Meats. All right, good. We're back here at Buresh Meats here just outside of David City on the north side. Tyler Cavalli, Jacob Roth along with you as we are continuing our Red Meat Road Trip, this time in eastern Nebraska. We're talking with Scott Buresh. And, well, Scott, what a unique place that you have here. It's a great big building on the north side of David City. Let's first talk about really rewinding it from 3-4 years ago, how this all got started.
Well, basically, we were a catering service, a family-run business catering service. And when COVID hit, we were starting to sell a little bit of meat prior to that. But when COVID hit, it kind of shut our catering down a little bit. So we needed to do something. My oldest son, who's a partner in this, Andrew, he said, yep, you want to get after the meat sales a little bit more. So we decided, yeah, we're going to go ahead and try that and do it. And it just, one thing led to another and exploded from there. We got a Columbus store started. Then we went ahead and started to build this store, got it completed. And then here at the first year, we bought a store up in Coolidge, Nebraska. So we've got 3 stores presently right now.
And how did you decide, let's get in the meat business from what you were doing before and say, let's start processing Nebraska beef?
Well, I've always known beef and animals from a young age because my dad slaughtered at home and we butchered for ourselves. But beef kind of worked into our plan and how we were, working with catering and stuff like that. And it was just something that we had access to at a little bit better price. So it just seemed like a good fit because people were struggling to try to find meat products and stuff. And we had a revenue for it, an alley for it. And so we just decided to go that route.
Was there a big need for another processor here in this neck of the woods?
Well, we don't right here in David City. We have a couple local grocery stores, but as far as a processor itself, yeah, we really don't have any other processing service here in town. So that wasn't a thought of ours to fill that niche. It was just something that fell into our laps, and so we rolled with it.
No, definitely kind of a cool opportunity that you have here, as it's different than a lot of the other places that we've been to. Is we coming up to this big building. We've seen quite a few processors. You expect the building to be a full processing facility, but it's really not. I mean, you walk in, it's a grocery store with the shop chic, I guess. I don't know what else to call the kind of stuff you've got in here, but talk about how this kind of whole thing came to fruition.
Well, it was kind of a plan that we had this vision that we wanted to have a destination point along with us selling the meat products. So we wanted to have, we had a lot of old stuff around. We've had neighbors that have donated or brought stuff in that we've used for decoration. So it's kind of you would say almost a museum type of grocery store thing. Yeah. And so people have donated stuff to us before to put up on the walls and everything too, or they've got stuff that they have here and they're just like on a loan service too. So we tell people if they got anything that they want us to display, put around so people can see it. We have a really good friend down the road here, Gary Zellinger's his name, and he's got a lot of old stuff from way back from his family that's collected, and it's just been sitting in a shed. So his family says, hey, why don't you get with Scott and get some of this stuff displayed? And the kids, they come here, they bring friends here and everything. So some of the stuff that we have is basically his, but we have it on display here. So it just adds to the ambiance of our little meat shop here.
And talking about wanting to be a destination, obviously you are a destination on the Beef Passport this year. Talk about kind of what kind of pushed you to that and how you stumbled on being a member of the Beef Passport.
Well, basically, I think it was they reached out to us last year. We didn't know for sure what we wanted to do there yet or not because we don't do a lot of advertising. It's all by Facebook or word of mouth with our clientele base. But this year they reached out again, and Andrew looked at it a little bit closer and he decided this might be something that could be beneficial for us and to our customers and the public. So we decided to get involved in it this year, and so far it's been really good. We've had a lot of good response from it, people coming in and participating in it. So I think it's been a good move for us to be part of that organization. So.
You want to go back to just the uniqueness of this building. One thing we've learned on this red meat road trip across Nebraska, especially with these different lockers, is very rare is it just a place where you drop off your cow, get it processed, and you come pick it up at a later date. It's now everybody's kind of had to expand a little bit, and you have done that twofold, again, to a certain degree of being basically a mini mart, if you will. I mean, people are coming in as we're talking right now, shopping for their everyday items. So that's got to be unique and kind of special for you guys, especially here in rural area.
Yeah, it's something that we've kind of evolved into a little bit as we've grown. We've seen a need for other things, and then we have had entities that we've not only found ourselves along the way that can offer us different products and stuff like that, but we've searched some of that out, and we've gotten some other contacts that we're able to get short runs on crackers and cookies and stuff like that. And then we've had other customers ask, is there any way you can maybe carry some of this stuff? So we decided that we'll start diversifying a little bit because maybe it's not all just with the proteins that you can have, and we do have the space here. So it made sense to go ahead and add a few more things as we go. But we have people that comment when they come here that they always see something new whenever they come. So we find stuff. It might not be something that we can keep stocked all the time, but it's a find. We call it a Buresh find. It's something that we get our hands on. We might buy a pallet or two of it up, we bring it in, we sell it at a reduced price, so we can go ahead and continue to operate and keep the store afloat and keep our employees employed here, but then give our customers a good break on products.
No, and you talked about it before we went on the air, but this is not the only spot that's got Buresh Meats on the name. Talk about some of the other locations and things.
Yeah, before we actually got this store opened up, we were in the process. We leased a place in Columbus. It's in a little strip mall over there, and we are right now currently getting ready to expand that. One of the businesses that was next door to us, they went out of business, so we are going to blow into that area over there, and we're going to increase our store frontage by about 200 and some percent. So it's going to give us a lot more square footage over there. But we started that store first because we had an opportunity to get into that strip mall before we actually had our own space, and that worked out really well. Then we went ahead and everything fell into place for this place here. We got this going, and then the store up in Coolidge just kind of presented itself to us. We negotiated with the people up there. They were happy to see us come up there because they lost their grocery store again. And we run it kind of the same format we do here. We might not have all the products, but we're slowly at them as the clientele base starts getting bigger and bigger up there. So it's doing really well for us up there. And we've got local people up there managing and running it for us, and they're doing a great job.
And we're talking again with Scott Buresh. He's a part owner of Buresh Meats here, as we're just north of David City, one of the multiple locations as you were talking about. And as we were kind of looking around, looking at some of the freezer space and fridge space, I saw something called Buresh Gold. What does that kind of mean, and what does that look like?
A Buresh Gold is something that we're raising with a local gentleman here. Doc Metzner's his name. He is working with us on fattening some cattle, and we're putting some of our own feed into these animals along with the grain that he is feeding them. And so right now we're just in the testing stages. We're about ready to go ahead and take our second batch of cattle into slaughter here at the end of August. And so we're in experimental stages to hopefully having something that might be still a good quality with the fat content we want, but maybe a little healthier option. So when we get that in and get some more testing done with it, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to be advertising that a lot heavier and maybe get into it more. We're getting in at a time where beef is really at high price, so it's a little bit of a risk, but we feel it's worth it. But we like the quality of the meat. We've got some over 100-day age on some of the stuff, wet aged, so it's doing really well for us right now.
I was going to say, so you've had a good response so far?
Yes, we have, for ourselves and the customers that have had it, so yeah.
So let's talk more about the processing side. Again, you are obviously a meat processor, Nebraska beef. How has that worked so far? What have you learned since you've been doing this last couple of years?
Well, I've learned that the way we do it, and I know that doesn't work for everybody, but we're kind of a different situation here. We're more like a grocery store meat shop would be, where we bring the meat in already boxed up. It's cryovac. We will age the meat here. Most of our steaks we'll put at least 30 days plus on them for age, then we'll go ahead and cut. So we don't bring live animals in. We go ahead and bring in boxed meat, whether it's beef, pork, or chicken. And then we buy directly from the slaughtering facilities. That's a little unique over what other stores will do. They will usually buy from a food service or buy from a broker. We buy directly ourselves. Some of them will deliver to us, depending on where they're at, or if they need to fill a load, come in this direction, or we will go and truck ourselves and pick up the product at the slaughtering facilities.
Have you guys thought about expanding into bringing live animals in from around the area, or is it just working well enough for what you have now?
It's working well enough where it is now. There's enough other processors in the area, and with the price point on that right now, this seems to be working better for us. And along with that, then you'd have to expand your operations. You'd have to add a lot more stuff in order to live slaughter. Then you got to worry about the offal after that, getting rid of it, where we don't have to worry about any of that. So that helps us keep our prices down, buying directly from the big packers. Then we'd have to have more people to do it. I've slaughtered myself, and it's hard work. And so to get somebody to do that on a full-time basis, to move the volume of meat that we are moving right now, we would have to probably double the size of this building and have a crew of maybe 10 to 15 people in order to keep up with that. So right now it just wouldn't be cost efficient, or trying to find the people to do it, to maintain and keep them on board, because eventually it might turn to us being able to do it or have to do it ourselves. We just don't have the time or the desire to do that. So we'll continue operating the way we are.
How many shipments are you getting in approximately, and is it all Nebraska beef?
For the most part, our beef is probably most Nebraska beef, because there's a lot of feed yards in this area in northeast Nebraska, and a lot of the packers that we're buying from in Omaha, Cargill over in Schuyler, National down in Kansas, Dodge and Liberal, or have buyers in this area, and they're buying from lots here down there. So I would say a good percentage of our beef, 90-some to 95%, is probably Nebraska raised, if not Iowa raised or someplace close. Our pork we get from Holstone Pork out of Fremont, and that is raised here in Nebraska, maybe a little bit in Iowa. And our chicken is coming from Lincoln Premium Poultry, which is Costco owned, and there's a lot of birdhouses in this county and surrounding counties that feed that. And then we get from Tecumseh Poultry, which is Smart Chicken, and then a lot of their chickens are raised right here in Nebraska too, because that's out of Waverly, Nebraska. So a good majority of our protein is coming from Nebraska.
No, and kind of also before we started, you were emphasizing once you were getting into the meat side of things, you kind of had a different philosophy of it, talking about the pricing of things. With it being such an expensive time on the beef side, how have you felt the impacts of that and navigated through it as you're kind of newer into this side of things?
Well, it's something that we just, we put our trust in the Lord that He was going to make this work, and He was going to put something in front of us that, as long as we did it right, it was going to work. And if it didn't, He wanted us to go a different direction. But by buying ourselves directly, we save money because we cut out a middleman, so that helps with keeping our prices down too. But then we also have to make an active decision to do that. And that's not always easy to do that, but once you start to see more and more people come through, you start to work off the volume a little bit more rather than the price point. And it all starts to work out. Now, could this work for everybody? Not saying it could, but it works for us because it's how we started out, and so it continues to come into play. So there's other deals that we get stuff at a reduced price we can offer to our customers at a reduced price, and still our margins are pretty decent in order to keep the operation functional. So it isn't something that would work for everybody, but since we started that way, it works out for us that way, and we get a lot of return customers, and they tell other people about it. So they enjoy the quality of the product they're getting, and they enjoy the customer service. We pride ourselves on that. And they also enjoy the pricing that they get from us.
Part of the Red Meat Road Trip, we've stopped by all the spots. We ask, what is something that they recommend, maybe not only just for us, but maybe our listeners or those watching that will be participating in the Nebraska Beef Passport Program. That is Nebraska beef that you guys to offer. What would you recommend from here?
From here, I guess I would have to say one thing that stands out is maybe go ahead and try some of our steaks, because we do pride ourselves on putting some more age on the steaks than typical stores will do, because they're forced to move their inventory. We'll set on that and we'll let it age, and that will develop a little bit different flavor and a more tender steak. So we pride ourselves on that, and we do go through a lot of steaks in a week's time. So
that's a good thing. We keep going through steaks. All right, as we wrap things up, talk about again this location in particular. It's outside of David City, and then your hours.
We're 2 miles north of David City on Highway 15, right at 38 County Road. Our hours are, as we are all closed on Sunday. All of our stores are closed on Sundays. That's a day of rest for us. This typical store here, since we have more employees here, we're open on a Monday through Fridays from 9 to 6. Saturday is 9 to 1. Our other 2 locations were closed on Mondays because we just don't have enough employees right now to do a rotating. That might change in the future, but we left it at that. So they are all 9 to 6, except for Columbus is a 10 to 6, and all of our Saturday hours are the same. It's all 9 to 1.
All right, well, I'm interested in the Buresh Gold as well. Hopefully that works out for you.
Well, we're hoping it does too. So it isn't a quick turnover, because by the time you get the cattle in, you got to fatten them up and stuff. It takes a few months. So we're into our second cycle. So then after we start aging that and testing and see how it's doing, it could take up to another 7, 8, 9, 10 months to see how it works out after that.
Our listeners are very understandable when it comes to that, especially all of our beef producers. All right, again, that is Scott Buresh of Buresh Meats, one of the part owners here, as we're just outside of David City, continuing our Red Meat Road Trip. All right, wrapping things up here in David City. Another great stop here, successful stop at that. Part of KRVN Sizzling across Nebraska here at Buresh Meats. Just got done chatting with Scott Buresh, a family-owned operation here at Buresh Meats and Company north of David City. This was a really eye-opening place that, again, we thought initially was going to be just about processing meats, offering meats. Oh, no, there's a lot more here.
Well, no, there's a lot more here, and I think this is what makes, things like this is what makes the Beef Passport great, is it's an opportunity for folks to come out and see places like this that if you're not from around here, you might not know it exists, but it's a really, really cool mini mart of sorts with just really high quality meat, because they're processing a lot of their own stuff, and they said that they're not quite to the carcass processing, but they get stuff in. They can guarantee a lot of their protein is from the Nebraska area, or feel like they're pretty sure they've got rough ideas on where everything's coming from. But really, really cool spot, lots of different opportunities to shop and get different things. And I think the price point is another thing that they're very proud of. They say, we're gonna go with this, we're gonna roll with it, and if people come, they'll come. And it seems like for the little bit we were on here on a random Tuesday, people were pretty busy.
It was just continuing flow of people that were coming through here. And he mentioned, we were talking to him afterwards, good amount of locals, but a lot of people, he said, coming from outside of the direct area that you would normally have local shoppers. A lot of people from South Dakota, from Iowa, from Kansas. He said they've had a couple of people that make a destination trip. He said it's a destination almost from Denver, Colorado. They'll come out here a couple times a year, and they will fill up a U-Haul. So if that doesn't say you're doing things right, people are willing to travel across a state and a half, I don't know what is.
I mean, that's time that people are committing to come out here to get up to David City. The one thing that's nice, though, this is right off the highway. As I'm sure you're seeing cars zip by, or can hear them at least. It's not hard to get to. It's not super difficult to find, but really, really cool spot. And this is not their only location, as we learned. They've got a couple other stops under the Buresh Meats umbrella, and we were just here at the one.
I'm excited to see how this Buresh Gold evolves for them here at Buresh Meats.
No, it'll definitely be a thing that we might have to look at down the road to see how it goes.
A follow-up story, per se, here at KRVN's Midday Show. All right, again, thanks to Scott Buresh, thanks to his great family, again, operating here at Buresh Meats, just north of David City. Check out their other couple of locations as well. Thanks to our great sponsors, Cross Diamond Cattle, Cross Diamond Meats in Bertrand, the Dawson County Cattlemen, the Nebraska Cattlemen, and, of course, the Nebraska Beef Council, putting on the Nebraska Beef Passport. He is Jacob Roth. I'm Tyler Cavalli, reporting for Buresh Meats just outside of David City, part of KRVN's Sizzling across Nebraska.